Just a few minutes ago, President-elect Donald Trump has asked the Supreme Court to delay a potential TikTok ban, which is set to take effect the day before his inauguration. The court has agreed to review TikTok's legal challenge to the ban on a fast-track schedule. However, Trump has argued that the court may not need to make a decision if the ban is delayed until he takes office. Trump's attorney explained that the president-elect plans to negotiate a deal to save TikTok while addressing so-called security concerns. The attorney, who Trump has nominated as U.S. Solicitor General, wrote that Trump has a political will and experience to resolve the issue once he takes office. During his campaign, Trump promised to save TikTok, opposing a law that would require its Chinese parent company to sell the app or face a ban by January 19th. While he hasn't shared many details about his plan, TikTok has pointed out Trump's support in its legal argument, suggesting the situation could change under his administration. The Supreme Court is scheduled to hear arguments on January 10th, just days before the ban will take effect. Whether or not the ban is delayed, Trump's team believes he can secure a solution that keeps TikTok in the United States while addressing so-called national security concerns. So, will President-elect Donald Trump save TikTok? Only time will tell. I read Donald Trump's legal team's 25-page amicus brief urging the Supreme Court to delay the TikTok ban so you don't have to. Here are some key points. President-elect Donald Trump, who is slated to return to the White House in January 2025, has filed a legal brief asking the Supreme Court to delay a decision on banning TikTok in the U.S., focusing on giving his future administration time to resolve the issue through negotiation. So why is this important? The government wants ByteDance to sell TikTok by January 19th, 2025, or face a nationwide ban, citing national security risks due to Chinese ties. Trump argues this deadline interferes with his ability to address the matter once in office. In the briefing, he emphasizes TikTok's importance for free speech, noting its 170 million American users and his own 14.7 million followers. So what does Trump want? Trump's brief asks the court to delay the ban to 1. Protect free speech. He warns banning TikTok would silence millions of Americans. 2. Address national security concerns. He plans to negotiate a balanced solution. He wants to take time for careful decisions. He argues rushing could lead to poor constitutional judgments. Is it true that Trump previously issued executive orders targeting TikTok during his first term? Yes, but now he has softened his stance on TikTok. Trump says that the January deadline restricts proper resolution. So what's Trump's argument? He says that the current law unfairly targets TikTok compared to other social media platforms like Facebook. A TikTok ban could also encourage global politically motivated app bans, and a delay would allow time for his administration to find a fair solution. His filing emphasizes that as president, he would oversee national security starting January 20th, 2025, just one day after the proposed deadline. He argues that the law could set dangerous precedent. In the amicus brief, he cited Brazil's temporary Twitter shutdown as an example concerning global censorship. The brief highlights TikTok's diverse user base, including content creators, political candidates, and everyday Americans, arguing that their free speech rights are at stake. So what's next? The Supreme Court must decide on extending the deadline. If approved, TikTok continues operating in the U.S. while Trump seeks a negotiated resolution. If denied, the app faces a potential ban just before Trump's anticipated return to office. Trump positions himself as uniquely qualified to handle this issue, promising to balance free speech and so-called national security concerns. So, will Donald Trump save TikTok? Only time will tell. The Republican Party is in the midst of a very public civil war, and this time it's about H-1B visas for skilled immigrant workers. On one side, Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy said that the program is important for tech companies. On the other, Trump's MAGA supporters are feeling angry and betrayed by the idea of letting in more foreign workers. The real irony? Musk and Ramaswamy are now being attacked for being so-called pro-immigration, even though they've spent years demonizing immigrants. Musk, whose tech companies use foreign engineers, argue that America needs more skilled workers, comparing it to recruiting the best players for a championship team. Ramaswamy, who Trump tapped for a new government job, said that American culture has celebrated mediocrity for far too long and doesn't produce enough skilled workers. He even blamed old TV shows for this. This angered Trump supporters who've been fighting to reduce immigration. Far-right figures like Laura Loomer and Ann Coulter criticized Musk and Ramaswamy, saying that they're hurting American workers, while other politicians argue that America should focus on its own workers. So, to sum it all up, the two of them should just play ball and shut the hell up. In response, Musk has taken action to silence his critics. He demonetized Laura Loomer and other conservatives on Twitter, stripping away their ability to make money, removing their blue verified checkmarks, and making their posts less visible. This shows just how far the divide between Musk and MAGA supporters has grown. Meanwhile, Trump is sending mixed messages. While he restricted H-1B visas during his first term, now he seems open to granting green cards to foreign workers who graduate from U.S. colleges, causing even more confusion in the Republican Party. The fight over H-1B visas shows how divided the GOP is. Musk and Ramaswamy represent the business, tech, oligarch bros of the party, which wants more immigration to help companies compete globally. On the other side, MAGA MAGA supporters don't want any kind of immigration, even for skilled workers, because they think it takes jobs from working class Americans. What's both hilarious and downright pathetic is watching Musk and Ramaswamy reap what they have sown. These are men who have spent years demonizing immigrants, even though their own lives and families have benefited from immigration. They backed hardline policies like building a wall, thinking that they somehow be the exception to the rules they champion. Now, as the MAGA mob turns on them, they're the ones begging to be let in. And really, what else would you expect? Musk still fawns over Trump, the same man who once tweeted that Elon would get on his knees and beg if asked. Turns out Trump was right. Musk is doing just that, only now it's for approval for a movement he helped fuel. And if you're expecting me to feel sorry for Musk or Ramaswamy, well, don't hold your breath. Jesus wept, but I don't give a damn. I save my sympathies for the working class and immigrants who have been subjected to hateful rhetoric and policies, not the tech oligarch bros that thought that they were the exception. So, with just 24 days into the inauguration, things are for sure going to get interesting. Who will pull through? The immigration hardliners or the rich tech bros who are surprised the leopards are finally eating their faces? In 2024, homelessness in the U.S. rose by 18.1%. Over 770,000 people were counted as homeless, but this number doesn't include those staying with family or friends, meaning that the true number is likely higher. This increase comes after a 12% rise in 2023 caused by high rent prices and the end of pandemic era help. The rise in homelessness is linked to the growing housing crisis. Rent prices are going up, making it harder for everyday Americans to afford a place to live. Natural disasters like the Maui wildfires also left many people homeless. In addition, communities are increasingly taking a hardline stance against visible homelessness, with many enforcing camping bans. To make matters worse, the Supreme Court's 6-3 ruling last year that upheld such bans effectively criminalized homelessness. So they'll lock us up for being homeless, but won't push for policies that actually help. Do y'all hear that? I think that's the sound of the guillotine sharpening. Another big reason for the rise in homelessness is income inequality. Rising rents and stagnated wages are plaguing everyday Americans, with many living paycheck to paycheck. As the gap between the rich and the poor grows, more people can't afford housing. This is especially bad for families. Family homelessness has gone up nearly 40%, showing that the support systems for families are simply not enough. In 2024, nearly 150,000 children were homeless, a 33% rise from the year before. So while we see increased homelessness in 2024, the rich saw increase in record profits. There's something fundamentally wrong with this. No one should be homeless in the so-called richest country on earth. We need change now before it is too late.